Hey, everybody, and welcome back to the Choose to Think podcast. I am just so delighted that you're here and that we get to spend just a little bit of time together. I have a special little promo episode that I want to share with you today, especially if you are someone who is so tired of food issues. And I mean food fixation, eating disorders, comfort eating, you name it. If you are sick and tired of being enslaved to food or feeling like food has some kind of control over you, or that you'll never get past your quote food issues, then this is the show for you. And boy, do I have a program, a course. It's a digital course that I've designed just for you in mind. And you're going to want to listen to the episode. You're going to hear from a student who took the course and the success that she had as she battled out and duked out her issues with food and food fixation. Probably all of us, we could raise our hand, say, yeah, sometimes I use food for comfort because we want distraction. We want just to enjoy something. We have that food is amazing to eat. It's delicious. We love it. And so we have that desire sometimes. Maybe we mindlessly eat. Have you ever done that where you're just sitting in front of the TV and you're just eating? You're not even hungry. You may not even know what you've eaten before you know it's like, the whole bag is gone. So we want to address those issues. And a few years ago, just a couple of years actually, I created a course called the Fired Up Mind course. Now, we use the object of food as the kind of the struggle point that maybe many of us have in common, but it doesn't matter if it's food or cigarettes or drugs or shopping or any number of quote vices that you may use to satisfy something in a way that it couldn't possibly satisfy you. It may, in the moment, you may get instant gratification, but in the long run, it only proves to be a liar. It proves to be to bring you a whole lot of dissatisfaction, actually. So the course really is about firing up your mind and choosing to think. Of course it is. It's Choose to Think, the Fired Up Mind course. And I'm the director at Choose to Think Academy. And in the Academy, we have coaching and we also have courses. We have this one course so far. The course you can actually get, it's a standalone course. You can do it on your own, it's completely self-paced. Generally, it lasts about 12 weeks. That's the design of the course. It has 12 separate weeks worth of lessons and homework and videos. But you can do it much faster. You can even do it much slower. It really depends on what you want to do. Soon, a small group at Lex City Church is actually doing the course as a part of their recovery ministry, and they have a Thursday night program, which I would love to invite you to. It is called, I believe it's called Hungry for More. They're meeting on Zoom, and they meet every Thursday night for the spring term. They happen to be enrolling in my course. So I would like to invite you also to join that class. It's absolutely free to join the class. Purchasing the course, if you go through Lex City Church, through the link that I can provide you in the show notes, or if you're watching on YouTube, hey there, it's going to be in the description below. You can get to the course through the link that I provide, and it's by donation basis only. So you'll see how that's set up, how that actual secured site is set up, where you can select what type of enrollment you would like. But there's the option for Lex City Church people and anyone who's going to the Hungry for More class that meets on Zoom every Thursday night. You can go through that link to it's donation only. You donate what you feel comfortable donating to get this entire dynamic 12-week course and program, which comes with videos. You'll see me every week with, talking. Hold on. So you'll see me every single week on a video, and then every week has 4 to 5 lessons. The homework is all provided. You can actually print off the homework if you'd prefer, or you can use your device and simply read along, and you can answer the homework questions in your own journal, like a 3-ring binder. You can use a spiral binder, all the journal prompt questions and the homework that's required in terms of writing and journaling. You can also do on your own paper. You don't have to use the downloadables that I have. It's quite substantial. But in the course, we're going to take you through the process. The 7 R's for living your best thought life, right? You've heard me speak of that a lot. That's the companion tool. It's a 1-page infographic that's printable, that is the companion tool to the Choose to Think, Find Peace, Joy, Hope, Health, and Freedom Every Day devotional that I wrote. And by the way, it's never too late to do a devotional, to start with your devotional. Just because we're into January already doesn't mean that you can't do your devotional still, that you can't start. I have actually started devotionals like in June or July or August. It didn't matter, because I just wanted something new and something different. So I started on the calendar date. So if you didn't get your copy of that devotional, please go ahead and snag it, because you can actually do it you can start at any time of the year, any day of the year. The 7 R's for living your best thought life is not only woven in the devotional, but it's also woven throughout this course, Fired Up Mind course, because that's what we're doing. We're literally firing up our brain. We are what fires together, wires together, they say. And so we are firing and wiring together new thoughts that are going to transform who we are and how we approach life, not just in terms of our food selection and our physical health, but also in terms of our wealth, our purpose, our relationships, our spirituality, and our faith. All of those are impacted in this Fired Up Mind course. Food is just kind of the central object that some of us may struggle with: comfort eating or mindlessly eating, overeating, binging, that sort of thing that I mentioned a moment ago. So that's the commonality we may have in this course, but it's really going to impact every single area of your life, not just when it comes to physical health and even that emotional health. You're going to find that it permeates everything, because when you're living your best thought life, you want to live your best thought life in every single area of your life, not just in one little compartmentalized version. And we take very seriously the Bible verses that say to be transformed through the renewing of your mind and to take every thought captive. So that 7 R's for living your best thought life, that method, that signature strategy that I have, is woven throughout the course as well as the devotional. Some students are doing both together. They've got my devotional and they're also going through the course at the same time. So again, you can join in a group, or you can join just on your own, self-paced, and approach the material in that way. We also have a private Facebook group that is only available for those students who are actually enrolled in the course. That's where we can share our highs, our lows, we can request prayer, that sort of thing, to really build and foster a community for those students taking the course. Now, the course is laid out, as I said, in 12 weeks. I have this structure. It's like a classroom, if you will, and there are 4 stations in the classroom. You got your homeroom, and then the homeroom, if you want, or this classroom, if you can imagine a classroom, say kindergarten, first grade, and maybe it was science day, and the teacher set up different stations. And so the students would just rotate from one station to another. Maybe they'd go back to one station or go over here to this one or skip that one because there are too many students in line. That's the way the course is set up. Even though it progresses through every station, once you get into the course, you have that material and you can always cycle back around. And it's called TGIF. Those are the 4 stations. Thank God I'm free. And you're going to find out what each station stands for. And you're going to get all the videos and the homework that accompany every single week of the study. So if I've described you in any way as someone who has just never quite gotten rid of all the junk that's surrounding food, and how we approach food and maybe overeating, all of those things. And you just want freedom. And you're like, yeah, isn't now the right time to do this? If you're thinking that, or if you're a little bit interested, I would encourage you to go to my website, choosetothink.co. That's with the number 2 and .co. And you will find there a link that says online courses. Click that link and you're going to get more details on exactly what's inside the course and how you can find out more information about it. So I would encourage you to do that. You can also see the price points and so forth. When you do that, there's a link to enroll now, and you can see what that's all about and choose your participation level. You can actually purchase the course with coaching, with group coaching. That's one of the packages. Or you can just say, no, I'm not going to do the coaching. I'm just going to do the course content, and then I'm going to have the Facebook group, and that's going to be good enough. And I will be in that Facebook group as well. I'm weaving in and out of that group as well. I'm the administrator on that. So I will be intimately involved in that community as well. And you can do it with a group, like I said, Lex City Church, which starts today, which is Thursday, and they meet tonight at 8 o'clock. You could just go to Lex City Church and then look at their small groups, their recovery groups, and you will find the Hungry for More class. You can get in that way, and the facilitator will be talking about the class a little bit more tonight, even showing a video and let you know exactly how to get started. So if you want a community, you can do that, or you can do it entirely self-paced on your own. It's totally up to you. But if you have any questions about that, please shoot me an email at choosetothink@gmail.com. I would love to work with you personally through this course and coach you in a very small group. So if that's where you're leaning, just let me know. If you have any other questions, be sure to reach out. We're going to end out this particular podcast segment with a testimonial from my student, Julie, coaching client. She took the course last year, and it was such a marvelous privilege to watch her progress through the course and to see where she started and then where she ended up. It was absolutely phenomenal to me. So if you're listening to the podcast and you haven't subscribed, would you do that? You can actually subscribe or make a favorite wherever you listen. If you are feeling a little more ambitious, could you go to Apple Podcasts, if that's where you listen, and leave me a 1-sentence review? I would absolutely be thrilled. We're in our 3rd season now of the podcast, as most of you know. I've got great interviews coming up for you. One of my favorites is Doc Pattison. He's the lead pastor at Capital City Christian Church. He's doing a series on apologetics, or defending your faith, because one of you asked me about that. Some, maybe not one. I did a poll several months ago, and I was surprised at some of the open-ended comments that, hey, how do you defend your faith, Victoria? How does that work? Where do we start? And Doc is doing a series called God Canceled, and it is phenomenal. And so I'm going to get to talk to him a little bit. I have other amazing guests coming on the show. It's just so exciting. And I'm so delighted to be in my 3rd season podcasting by the grace of God. But if you could show support by simply going to the YouTube channel and hitting subscribe to that channel, leaving a comment on one of the videos, sharing the link with a friend, or writing something on Facebook, doing a little post, say, hey, this is my friend Victoria. Have you heard her show? All of those things really do help the ministry to gain traction and help other people to actually find us. And that's what we're trying to do in 2022. We're trying to continue to grow, gain traction, and scale just a little bit more. And you are an integral part of that. So now let's go on to the actual mini interview that I have with Julie. She and I chat together about her experience in the Choose to Think Fired Up Mind fully digital course with the coaching option. So here she is. God bless you. So Julie, can you tell us a little bit about your experience with the Fired Up Mind course, if that's what we're calling it, or the Choose to Think When Your Soul is Hungry course? What was that experience like for you?
Oh, wow. Actually, it was a fabulous experience. I really see the importance of how we think and what those thoughts lead us to. And taking this course was just imperative to changing my thoughts. And honestly, the fact that it was a 12-week course was so helpful to me, because it really instilled things over and over and over to where it became more natural for me, different than if, say, we're like a 6-week course to where you're just really getting to the meat of it, you're getting on a roll, and then it ends, and then you're like, oh no, now what? So I really enjoyed it.
Did your eating habits change at all, would you say? Because we talk a lot in the course about how food is just the object really of our affection, or maybe something that we use to find comfort. But did your attitude about food per se and going to food for comfort, did you have any growth in that area at all?
Yeah, actually I did. I know I've stated before that my breakfast and my dinner meals were actually pretty good because I knew basically what I was having every day. But through this course, I realized that lunchtime for me was really where I struggled a lot, because that was my time where I sat down in front of the TV with my lunch. And so I ended up doing mindless eating and would just keep going and not even realize it. And that was really helpful for me, because I even heard some statistic where, I forget what it was now, but it's like you eat 25% more or gain so many pounds a year just from mindless eating in a situation like that. So that awareness has really been helpful to me. And, Victoria, between you and I, we've tried to work some different angles with that, like setting a timer and being done at the end of that time, or standing up after 15 minutes and walking around my house a couple minutes just to get my mind off of the food. So just different things that might help me change what I've been doing there at lunch. So that was really a breakthrough for me to see that. I knew I did that at lunch somewhere in the back of my head, but until that was brought to light through this course, I didn't really know to the extent. So that was a great awareness for me.
Let's also talk about the process of taking thoughts captive, like thinking about what you're thinking about. And if you look at where you were day one, when you just came in and when we started working together, and you fast forward 3 months down the track, like, did you notice, I know you have on the TGIF, that dashboard where you're actually gauging your awareness of your thoughts and your sensitivity to what you're thinking about, where you were when you started versus how you're doing that now. Did you notice a shift or growth during these last few months as far as your sensitivity level to your thoughts and your thinking?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because like just on day one on the dashboard where it says toxic thoughts and it has these little bubbles where you can write what your thoughts are. I put overwhelmed, ill-equipped to do this course.
Wow.
I feel not smart enough with technology in certain subjects, so it makes me feel less than a person because I don't understand how to even get to some of these areas in the course to do them.
Oh no.
So yes, just feeling very overwhelmed with my capabilities. And then on the other side of it, 3 months later, I made it. I didn't die. You helped me when I needed it. I fumbled through things, but I did it. And yeah, I'm actually excited to go back through the course again, because like I said, once we did it, I was going to give my brain a little bit of break because it was a 3-month course, but then I want to go back through and just read and refresh. And yeah, and now I know I can do it because I did it. So I can do it again if I want.
You did
Whereas
it.
before,
And
yeah, I didn't think so.
yeah, and what I remember from when you started was you reminded me so much of myself when I started on the journey to learn what it means to take my thoughts captive. And it was I started from a position of chaos really, and fear and depression. And I'm not saying you were these, but I could see some of this in you, just friend to friend. And I was at such a low point personally, and I didn't know where to start. So yeah, technology would have just been, no, forget it. I can't take that on too with everything else. And it was just like a dog pile of all kind of mixed thinking and thoughts and toxicity soup, really. But week after week after week, as I saw you start thinking about what you were thinking about, writing that down. I think you were student extraordinaire because you really did all the exercises. You were not a passive student in this class. You were straight A's, front of the class, raising your hand, engaged, chewing into the material, which really makes a difference because you were hungry to have health and wholeness, hungry for God, hungry for His truths. That was the hunger that you had, really. And so the course was just a way to say, hey, try these methods, try this technique, but you actually did all of the hard work. It was you and God really doing all of it. The course is just kind of a way to steer and kind of guide through. And of course I can throw in my own experience in the matter, but that process of recognizing what you're thinking about, resisting the lies, any thought that's not true, rejecting those lies, replacing it with God's truth or any true thought really that will lead you in another direction, and then repeating that and repeating that and repeating it until you really have been transformed by the renewing of your mind. It's like all of that kind of came together, and now you're going to go at it again. You're going to keep doing it, and over time, the more you do that, you will find yourself in what I call maintenance mode, where the words you speak, the words you say, the songs that you sing are basically all declaring God's goodness and what God has done for you. So then you start singing and saying. That's kind of the next step. That would be, let's take it another level. After this course, we go from this process and this discipline of taking thoughts captive to then we sing and say. And that would be my challenge for you now, is that you can now go into this, I'm going to sing it and I'm going to say it. And it's that praise and that truth. And you're taking this transformation in the life that, has erupted, and then you're singing it and saying it. So I just heard someone say, sing and say. I think it was on a recent, I don't know, maybe Tim Keller. I don't know who was saying. I was listening to a sermon or a podcast, and it was the sing. I thought, oh, that is the best way to end the course, because once you get there, and you know that process and you're disciplined to do it every day, then it becomes a sing and say. And that seems exciting to me, and there's energy there. So that's where you're headed, I think, now into the sing and say phase of everything. So,
well, I do just want to thank you, though, Victoria, for your willingness to work with me through this course. And for this course, the course itself is just fabulous, and your availability to me and the one-on-ones that we had were just so valuable to me. And anyone who would take this course is going to be blessed. And all I would say is kind of reiterate what you say, is just be teachable, be available, because, Victoria was trying to say, oh, Julie, you did such a great job, perfect student. Well, not by far, but I'm a bulldog, and I've got willingness, and I don't give up easy. And I knew if I was into this course, I needed to be all in, because I wanted to get out of it everything that you've put into it that is available for me. So just to encourage anybody else out there, it is just so invaluable that I highly recommend that you take this course.
Well, and your transformation was, it's something I'll never forget, because really, although other students had taken the class as in beta mode the year before, you were the first student to come through with that coaching aspect added to it, one-on-one, and to be able to see this kind of in action and then the end result of the transformation was such a privilege for me. And I really do mean that. I'll never forget it, because it felt like suddenly my efforts had meaning beyond just some words on a page, and they were helpful, and pointing others to God. That's the cry of my heart. That's my ministry. I want to help others from my place of brokenness and depression, knowing that this is what worked for me, taking my thoughts captive. And that sounds so lofty, but I try to put practical tips in there to make it more of a tangible practice and that you can put into play, and which is what I did personally, and also was transformed. So I appreciate your coming back even now, a few weeks later, or a couple, I guess, 8 weeks later or so, or 6 or whatever, and chatting about that. So I look forward to, you're in the Brain Changer Hall of Fame. That's what I call it. You made it. You graduated. Shining star. So thank you, Julie.
You're welcome. Thank you.